By 1975, my mornings began before sunrise and ended long after everyone else had gone to bed. My alarm clock wasn't the beeping box on my nightstand. It was Lydia asking for cereal or Aaron wailing for his next bottle. I learned to make breakfast with one hand while bouncing a baby on my hip. I learned to drink lukewarm tea in between diaper changes and calls from the office. Our one-bedroom apartment was cramped, but full of life. Lydia, now a spirited toddler, had claimed every corner with her books and stuffed animals. Aaron, just a few months old, was already kicking with determination. His bassinet was squeezed between our dresser and the closet, and the smell of baby powder, soy sauce, and instant coffee mingled constantly in the air. Motherhood was beautiful, but it was exhausting. And for someone like me, raised straddling two cultures, there was no clear roadmap. There were no parenting books in Cantonese that spoke to the experience of raising American-born children. My mother helped when she could, but her advice was rooted in another time, another world. Wrap him tighter, she'd say. Don't let her eat too much cold food. She meant well, but sometimes I needed different answers. Leslie was a steady presence, calm, thoughtful, always ready to help. He was the kind of father who read Dr. Spock late at night and adjusted Aaron's swaddle with precision. He never once treated childrearing as women's work. But even with his support, there were days when I felt the weight of it all pressing on my chest. I had returned to work part-time as a junior financial analyst, a job I had fought hard to get, even harder to keep. I was one of the few Asian women in the office. I dressed modestly, spoke precisely, and made sure my numbers were bulletproof. I didn't raise my voice, but I let my spreadsheet speak for me. Every time I left the apartment in slacks and a pressed blouse, I felt the ache of separation. Every time I returned, I felt this subtle undercurrent of guilt. Was I being selfish for working? Was I doing enough at home? At night, I'd tuck the guilt under my pillow like a folded worry. I would lie in bed with Leslie beside me, both of us too tired to speak, and stare at the ceiling, wondering if I was failing somewhere or everywhere. Still, I tried. At home, I created small rituals to keep our roots strong. I sang Cantonese lullabies to Aaron. I told Lydia bedtime stories about dragons who guarded the moon and monkeys that leapt through peach orchards. I packed dumplings in her lunchbox, carefully, lovingly, alongside apple slices and peanut butter sandwiches. I taught them both how to count in English and Cantonese. I insisted on chopsticks at dinner, even when Lydia asked for a fork like the other kids at preschool. But slowly, changes crept in. Lydia began answering me in English only. "I don't want to speak Chinese," she said one day, frustrated that her classmates didn't understand her name. Aaron wrinkled his nose at my steamed fish and called it smelly. I didn't blame them. The world outside our apartment, the cartoons, the teachers, the neighbors, spoke louder than I did. I felt the ache of it, like losing something precious grain by grain. Yet, I held on. I believed that culture wasn't a language to be recited. It was a rhythm to be lived. So I kept speaking to them in Cantonese. I kept hanging red banners during Lunar New Year. I kept cooking meals the way my mother had, hoping the taste would live somewhere in their memory, even if their words forgot. 2 kids, eventually. 1,000 questions, and no single answer. But in the chaos of cereal crumbs, bedtime songs, and late-night balance sheets, I was building something. Not perfect, not always visible, but deeply mine. A family that could hold more than one language, more than one truth.